The crystalline spires of Nova Prime pierced the perpetually aurora-lit sky, their surfaces reflecting the dance of cosmic energies that powered the greatest civilization in the known galaxy. Within the highest tower of the Imperial Palace, Princess Nyx stood before the quantum mirror, her iridescent skin shifting through shades of blue as her emotions churned beneath the surface. The news she had received moments ago threatened to shatter her carefully planned future. Absolutely not, she declared, her voice carrying the weight of generations of royal breeding. Before her stood Admiral Theron, her father's most trusted advisor, his mechanical augmentations whirring softly as he maintained his diplomatic posture. Your Highness, the alliance with Earth is crucial for the survival of both our species. Theron's voice remained measured, though his cybernetic eye pulsed with concern. The humans have developed technology that could help us combat the void plague affecting our outer colonies. Nyx turned away from the mirror, her ceremonial robes flowing like liquid starlight. And so I am to be traded like a common resource? To Commander Perseus Blake of all people. The name felt foreign on her tongue, leaving a bitter taste. She had studied Earth's military history, and Blake's reputation preceded him, a brilliant tactician who had unified Earth's fractured military forces after the Third World War. Marriage has long been a tool of diplomacy, Your Highness, Theron reminded her gently. And Commander Blake is highly respected among both his people and ours. He's human, Nyx spat the word as if it were poison. Their lifespan is barely a tenth of ours. Their bodies are fragile, their minds unable to comprehend the vast psychic networks that bind our society together. Admiral Theron's mechanical hand adjusted his ceremonial collar, a gesture that betrayed his discomfort. The humans have surprised us before, Princess. Their adaptability and resilience have earned them a place among the galactic community faster than any species we've encountered. Nyx walked to the observation deck, where the great expanse of Nova Prime's capital city stretched before her. Millions of her people went about their daily lives, unaware that their princess was being asked to sacrifice her future for their benefit. The void plague had already claimed 3 outer colonies, turning thriving worlds into ghostly ruins where nothing could survive. Does Father truly believe this alliance will save us? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. Emperor Octavian believes it is our best hope, Theron replied. The humans' quantum shielding technology, combined with our psychic abilities, could create a defense against the plague. But they will only share their research if our civilizations are bound by more than mere treaties. Nyx closed her eyes, feeling the psychic pulse of her world through the crystal beneath her feet. She had always known her royal duties would demand sacrifices, but this seemed beyond bearing. The humans were so limited. Their emotions were chaotic, their thoughts bound by physical constraints that her people had transcended millennia ago. I wish to speak with Commander Blake before any formal announcement is made, she declared suddenly, turning to face Admiral Theron. If I am to consider this proposition, I want to evaluate him myself. Theron's cybernetic eye whirred as it adjusted focus. Your Highness, the diplomatic protocols will be observed, she cut him off. But I will not be bound to someone I haven't even met. Arrange it, Admiral. Privately. As you wish, Your Highness, Theron bowed slightly. Though I must warn you, Commander Blake may be different from what you expect. As the Admiral left her chambers, Nyx returned to the quantum mirror. Her reflection showed the perfect image of a celestial princess, tall, elegant, with skin that shifted colors like the aurora above and hair that seemed to contain entire galaxies. But beneath that perfect exterior, her mind raced with possibilities. She had heard stories of Commander Blake's achievements, how he had united Earth's armies through sheer force of will and strategic brilliance, how he had led the defense against the swarm incursion that threatened to destroy human civilization. He was, by all accounts, exceptional among his kind. But he was still human. Nyx pressed her hand against the mirror's surface, watching as it rippled like liquid starlight. Perhaps there was more to this arrangement than a simple political marriage. If the humans truly had found a way to shield against the void plague, her people desperately needed that knowledge. And if she had to play the role of diplomatic bride to save her people? Very well, Commander Blake, she whispered to her reflection. Let us see what manner of human you truly are. In the days that followed, Nyx immersed herself in Earth's historical archives, studying their cultures, their wars, their rapid technological advancement. The more she learned, the more she began to understand why her father had chosen this particular alliance. Humans were young, violent, and chaotic, but they were also incredibly innovative. When faced with limitations, they didn't accept them, they found ways to overcome them. As she prepared for her clandestine meeting with Commander Blake, Nyx couldn't shake the feeling that this arrangement would either save both their civilizations or tear them apart. Either way, she was determined to face whatever came next on her own terms. The Earth Diplomatic Center in New Geneva rose like a gleaming beacon against the snow-capped Alps, its architecture a blend of human ingenuity and alien influence. Princess Nyx materialized in the secure arrival chamber, her quantum translocation leaving behind a brief shimmer of aurora-like light. Two human guards stood at attention, their neural augments glowing softly beneath their skin, a sign of humanity's gradual steps toward enhancement. Commander Perseus Blake waited at the center of the chamber, his posture military straight but relaxed enough to suggest diplomacy rather than confrontation. He was taller than Nyx had expected, with features carved from experience rather than genetic engineering, and eyes that held the sharp intelligence of a tactical mind. Your Highness, Blake's voice carried the gravelly undertone of someone used to giving orders. Welcome to Earth. Nyx observed him with both her physical and psychic senses, noting the complexity of his thought patterns, different from her people's structured consciousness, but intriguing in their adaptive chaos. Commander Blake. I trust you understand why I requested this, unofficial meeting. To determine if I'm worthy of being your husband, he replied with unexpected directness. Or perhaps to find a reason to reject the arrangement entirely. A smile tugged at Nyx's iridescent lips. You're more perceptive than most humans I've encountered. And you're more willing to admit your intentions than most diplomats I've dealt with, Blake gestured toward a private conference room. Shall we speak frankly? The room they entered was shielded against both conventional and psychic surveillance. Blake activated a hollow projection showing the spread of the void plague across the galaxy, with affected areas marked in ominous red. 3 of your colonies lost, Blake began without preamble. And the plague is approaching human space. Our quantum shielding might help, but it needs to be adapted to work with your civilization's psychic infrastructure. That's why this alliance matters. Nyx studied the projection, her skin shifting to deeper blues of concern. And you believe a marriage will accomplish this? Surely our scientists could collaborate without such personal entanglements. Politics, Blake's laugh held little humor. Your people don't trust us with your psychic technology. My people don't trust yours with our quantum advancements. A marriage creates a bridge, a symbol both sides can rally behind. A symbol built on lies? Nyx challenged. We're fundamentally different species, Commander. Your kind lives barely a century. Mine can live for thousands of years. Blake's eyes met hers steadily. We've solved that problem. Our quantum technology doesn't just shield, it can alter the flow of time itself. Localized temporal fields that could extend a human lifespan to match yours. Nyx felt her carefully maintained composure slip. That's impossible. The energy requirements alone would be massive, Blake nodded. Unless combined with your people's psychic energy manipulation. Together, we could make it work. Just like we could make the void plague shields work. For the first time, Nyx began to understand the deeper implications of this alliance. Her father hadn't just chosen any human, he'd chosen one who had already begun solving the problems that would face their union. Show me, she demanded suddenly. Show me this quantum technology of yours. Blake's expression remained neutral, but she sensed his satisfaction. He led her to a secure laboratory deep within the facility. There, contained within a shimmering field, a small plant grew and withered and bloomed again in rapid cycles. Temporal manipulation on a small scale, Blake explained. We can slow time to near stasis or accelerate it dramatically. Imagine this applied to living tissue, regulated by psychic control. Creating a synchronized lifespan, Nyx finished, her scientific mind already racing with possibilities. But the neural interface required would need to be unique, Blake agreed. Designed specifically for human celestial compatibility. That's another reason why this marriage was proposed. We need a test case, volunteers willing to undergo the procedure. Nyx turned to face him, her skin shimmering with mixed emotions. You're willing to alter your very existence for this alliance. I'm willing to adapt to secure humanity's future, Blake corrected. The void plague doesn't discriminate between species. Either we work together, or we both fall. The raw honesty in his voice resonated with something deep within Nyx's consciousness. She had expected to find a primitive being playing at diplomacy. Instead, she found a mind as committed to survival and advancement as her own. Your people have surprised us before, she said softly, echoing Admiral Theron's words. Perhaps you'll surprise us again. Is that a yes to the marriage? Blake asked, a hint of amusement crossing his features. It's a maybe, Nyx replied, her own lips curving slightly. I need to see more of your work. Understand exactly what we're attempting here. And she paused, choosing her words carefully. I need to know if you're actually capable of engaging with a celestial mind on a deeper level. Blake's expression turned serious. The neural augments I've had installed should allow for basic psychic connection. Would you like to test them? Nyx felt a flutter of unexpected anticipation. This was not how she had expected this meeting to go. You trust me inside your mind? Trust has to start somewhere, Blake replied simply. Besides, I imagine you're as curious about how a human mind works as I am about celestial consciousness. As Nyx prepared to initiate a shallow psychic link, she realized that her father's choice might not have been as arbitrary as she'd initially assumed. Commander Blake was offering something beyond mere political alliance. He was offering true collaboration, a chance to bridge the gap between their species in ways she hadn't thought possible. The alarm shattered the contemplative silence of the quantum lab, its piercing wail echoing through the New Geneva facility. Commander Blake's neural augments flashed crimson as he accessed the emergency feed, his expression hardening into the mask of a warrior. Void plague signatures detected at the edge of the solar system, he announced, already moving toward the command center. It's not just spreading anymore, it's jumping between systems. Princess Nyx's skin rippled with patterns of dark purple, a sign of deep concern among her people. They had spent the past week studying the integration of human quantum technology with celestial psychic fields, making progress that surprised them both. Now, reality was forcing their hand. The plague never moved this fast before, she said, keeping pace with Blake's rapid stride. Something's changed. The command center erupted with activity as they entered. Holographic displays showed the approaching anomaly, a writhing mass of void energy that consumed everything in its path, leaving behind the characteristic empty husks of plague-touched worlds. Multiple bogies detected, announced Colonel Winters, her cybernetic arms manipulating the tactical displays with practiced efficiency. The plague is hitching a ride on something. Commercial vessels, military ships, anything that moves between systems. It's evolved, Nyx realized, her scientific mind racing. It's no longer just consuming worlds, it's using our own transportation networks to spread. Blake's jaw tightened. How long until it reaches Earth? At current velocity. Colonel Winters paused, double-checking her calculations. 48 hours, sir. And Nova Prime? Nyx demanded. 72 hours, Your Highness. The Celestial Empire's psychic barriers are buying some time, but not much. Blake turned to Nyx, his augments pulsing with increased neural activity. We need to combine our defenses now. No more tests, no more careful integration. Either the quantum shields work with your psychic fields, or both our civilizations fall. Nyx nodded, her royal training giving way to pragmatic necessity. I'll need direct access to your quantum core. And you'll need to fully open your mind to me, the neural link has to be complete for this to work. Colonel Winters, begin evacuation protocols for all non-essential personnel, Blake ordered. And get me a secure channel to Emperor Octavian. He needs to know what we're attempting. As the command center buzzed with activity, Blake and Nyx descended to the heart of the facility, the quantum core chamber. The massive machine hummed with barely contained energy, its crystalline structure reminiscent of celestial architecture but powered by human ingenuity. A full neural link could kill you, Nyx warned as they prepared. Human minds aren't designed to handle direct celestial consciousness. Blake's smile was grim. Better dead than watching both our worlds fall to the plague. Besides, your father chose me for a reason. Let's find out if he was right. They positioned themselves on either side of the quantum core. Nyx's skin began to glow with psychic energy, her consciousness expanding beyond physical limitations. Blake's neural augments responded, creating a bridge between their minds. The initial contact was overwhelming. Human consciousness crashed against celestial awareness like waves against a shore. Blake's military discipline warred with the vast, ordered complexity of Nyx's mind. But slowly, painfully, they began to find harmony. Through their shared consciousness, Nyx guided the integration of quantum shielding with psychic energy. Blake's tactical mind provided the framework, identifying weak points and optimizing power distribution. Together, they wove a defense that neither species could have created alone. Multiple plague vessels entering the outer solar system, Colonel Winters' voice seemed distant through their shared focus. Shield activation required in 15 minutes. In their merged state, Nyx felt Blake's memories, the wars he'd fought, the losses he'd endured, the iron determination that drove him to protect humanity. In turn, Blake experienced the weight of celestial history, the responsibility of safeguarding a civilization that measured its existence in millennia. The quantum field is stable, Blake reported, his voice strained but steady. Psychic integration at 80%. Not enough, Nyx's physical form was barely visible through the aurora-like energy surrounding her. We need complete synchronization. Trust me, Perseus. The use of his first name, something she had carefully avoided until now, carried weight beyond the words themselves. Blake took a deep breath and fully opened his mind, dropping the last barriers between them. The universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, like a key turning in a lock, their consciousness fully aligned. The quantum core pulsed with new energy as human technology and celestial power found perfect harmony. Through their shared vision, they watched as a shield unlike anything either civilization had created before expanded outward from Earth. Plague vessels entering firing range, Colonel Winters announced. Impact in 10, 9. But Blake and Nyx were already moving ahead, their merged consciousness extending the shield's influence. As the plague-infected ships struck the barrier, the combined quantum psychic field didn't just stop them, it began to purge the infection itself. Incredible, Winters breathed, watching as ship after ship emerged clean from the shield's influence. It's not just defending, it's healing. In their shared mental space, Blake and Nyx realized the true potential of what they had created. This wasn't just a defense against the void plague, it was proof that their species could achieve things together that neither could manage alone. As the immediate crisis passed, they began the delicate process of separating their consciousness. But something had changed. The barriers between them, physical, mental, and cultural, had been irreversibly altered by their shared experience. Well, Blake said as they finally stood apart, his neural augments cooling down from the strain. I suppose this answers the question of whether a human and a celestial can truly understand each other. Nyx's skin shimmered with colors that reflected both relief and something deeper, more personal. Indeed. Though I suspect understanding is just the beginning. The aftermath of the Void Plague crisis left both Earth and Nova Prime in a state of cautious celebration. The successful merger of quantum and psychic technologies had done more than save their civilizations, it had proven that true cooperation between humans and Celestials was possible. But for Princess Nyx and Commander Blake, the experience had left an indelible mark that went far beyond political implications. In the gardens of the New Geneva facility, Nyx found Blake practicing with his neural augments, attempting to maintain the faint psychic connection they had discovered during their merge. His dedication was admirable, if somewhat amusing to watch. "You're pushing too hard," she said, approaching him. "Psychic ability isn't about force, it's about harmony." Blake opened his eyes, a slight smile crossing his features. "Says the being who can naturally bend reality with her thoughts. Some of us have to work at it." The easy banter between them was new, a product of their shared consciousness during the crisis. They had seen each other's true selves, hopes, fears, strengths, and weaknesses laid bare. There was no going back to formal diplomatic relations after that. "The Council of Elders is meeting tomorrow," Nyx said, her skin shifting through thoughtful shades of blue. "They want to discuss the implications of our achievement. And whether a human is still suitable for their princess, now that the immediate danger has passed." Blake's perception had grown sharper since their mental connection. "They're concerned about the precedent it would set," Nyx admitted. "A human with access to celestial psychic abilities, even limited ones. Some fear it could lead to the dilution of our culture." Blake stood, his neural augments pulsing softly. "And what do you think?" "I think," Nyx said carefully, "that what we achieved together proves that evolution isn't just about preserving what we are, it's about becoming something more than we were." The Grand Hall of Nova Prime's Imperial Palace shimmered with psychic energy as members of both civilizations gathered for what would become known as the Unity Summit. Emperor Octavian sat upon his crystalline throne, his ancient eyes watching as human and celestial representatives mingled with varying degrees of comfort. Commander Blake stood before the assembly, his neural augments upgraded with celestial technology that allowed him to project his thoughts to the gathered crowd. "The Void Plague taught us that isolation is no longer an option. Our species are different, yes, but those differences make us stronger together than apart." Princess Nyx stepped forward, her royal garments flowing like stardust. "The quantum psychic shield we created is proof that we can achieve extraordinary things through cooperation. But more than that, it shows us a path forward." She turned to face the Council of Elders, her voice carrying the weight of conviction. "Our civilizations need not remain separate. Through careful integration of our technologies and cultures, we can create something new, something greater than either of us could become alone." Emperor Octavian rose, his presence commanding immediate attention. The marriage originally proposed between Princess Nyx and Commander Blake was meant to be a political arrangement. But what they have demonstrated goes far beyond politics. They have shown us the potential of true partnership between our peoples. He gestured to Colonel Winters, who activated a holographic display showing the spread of the new quantum psychic technology. Already, it was being adapted for purposes beyond defense, healing, exploration, communication across vast distances. "Therefore," the Emperor continued, "I propose not just a marriage, but a new accord. The Celestial Empire and Earth will begin a program of controlled technology exchange. Selected humans will be offered the opportunity to develop their psychic potential through our methods, while we will benefit from human quantum advancement." Blake stepped closer to Nyx, their minds touching briefly through their unique connection. "Change is never easy," he addressed the assembly. "But standing still means death. We've seen that truth written across plague-ravaged worlds." Nyx's skin shimmered with determination as she faced her people. "I choose this path not from duty, but from conviction. What Commander Blake and I share isn't just a political alliance, it's proof that our species can understand each other, grow together, and build a future that neither of us could imagine alone." The Council of Elders deliberated through their psychic network, their ancient consciousness weighing the implications. Finally, the first elder spoke. The path you propose is unprecedented. It carries risks. Everything worthwhile does, Blake replied. But, the elder continued, it also offers hope. We accept this new accord. As the assembly erupted in a mixture of cheers and thoughtful murmurs, Nyx turned to Blake. Through their connection, she felt his mix of triumph, relief, and something deeper, an emotion that had grown between them, transcending their biological differences. Ready to make history? She asked, her skin glowing with colors that only he had learned to fully read. Blake's neural augments pulsed in harmony with her psychic signature. With you? Always. The ceremony that followed wasn't just a wedding, it was a symbol of a new era. As quantum technology merged with psychic energy in a display that lit up the skies of Nova Prime, two civilizations took their first steps toward a shared future. The Void Plague had tried to destroy them, but instead, it had forced them to find strength in their differences and courage in their unity. And in the years that followed, as more humans developed psychic abilities and Celestials embraced quantum enhancement, the story of Princess Nyx and Commander Blake became legend, not just as the first human-celestial union, but as proof that love, understanding, and evolution could transcend the boundaries of species, space, and consciousness itself.